The 12th, the day after 9/11. And Larry's with us, as you can hear, and take it away. Thank you.
All right, folks, we are here today. Some things are breaking. The DOJ announced that they were rejecting, what's his name?
McCabe, Andrew
McCabe's appeal to null pros, or that there be no federal prosecution. And the good news is, folks, it was denied. The DOJ refused. So that's good. The other thing that's happening, which is predictable, but Nadler and his committee had a hearing today. I guess it was today.
Yeah.
Basically, it's to simply determine if there is anything impeachable that they need to deal with. Now, guys, this is an incredible move. I've never actually seen it before. They're basically saying, what they're actually saying is, we don't know that there's anything. We don't know that there's any reason to impeach President Trump, but we're going to set up a committee that's just going to look and see if we can find something that we can use to go after an impeachment. Now, what that means in the Judicial Committee's stuff, it's just what I have told y'all since day one. They don't want an actual impeachment. They don't want to actually impeach the president. Because if they did that, they know they cannot win. They know they can't. As a matter of fact, they'll never even get impeachment to the floor of the House, because they know they can't even pass that, not during an election cycle, not with Trump being where he is. The problem for the Democrats that slipped up on them, that they were not anticipating or didn't plan for, so many Democrats running for office this time are in districts that are heavily Trump districts. So they are setting up their candidates, if they back or support impeachment, then they're basically running their chances to get elected. And they're not going to do that. So what do? They do the only thing they can do, which is to simply set up a way to deal with all kinds of sleazy things that they can make up and throw out to see if the public will bite into it. And that's it. That's all they can do. It's a dirty trick. It's something that is unique, but it's being done. Add it to the list of everything else that is going on in our government today. How many times do we say, or have we said, that this, that, or the other thing can't be possible, it can't happen, and yet it does? Trump, thankfully, to my knowledge, folks, is only willing at this point to, on the issue of gun control, he is only interested at this point to look into whether there are any things that can be done in background checks that could help the situation. I assure you, President Trump knows. I promise you, he knows the simple truth. The simple truth is, there is nothing that can be passed, nothing that would protect any of these cases where we've had mass shootings. No law that could have been passed, even the red flag, nothing could have worked. So why are you doing it? It's for the reasons I have already told y'all. It's just to take advantage of the media and the news and to go in and try to change the Second Amendment, water it down from within, instead of doing away with it. So thank goodness President Trump and his stuff that he's looking to send to the Congress has nothing to do with red flag laws, which I didn't believe it would have. I hoped it wouldn't have, and it didn't, as it looks so far. The next issue.
Oops, you're breaking up. Larry, you're breaking up really badly.
Today, you're breaking up, or am I breaking up?
You're back. You're back.
Okay. Next issue for the day is the election in North or South Carolina. You will notice that going up to the day before the election, that the Democrats were boasting about how their candidate was winning, how close it was, how much damage had been done to Trump, because the candidate should have been way ahead in the race, and going up to election day, it looked tight. Some cases even showed the Democrat winning, some of the polls, of course. And then we have the big old election. Even during the election, I switched off periodically to CNN, and I watched them go through county by county. And they were going out of their way to talk about, even though Trump was a little bit ahead, that was a county that he won by 20 points before against Hillary. Now, the Democratic candidate, even though the Republican was ahead, was only ahead by 4 or 5. So look at the damage done to Trump. And they had changed subtly from this election was going to be a bell cow to what's coming for the 2020 election, that Trump has lost so much support that he's going to be defeatable. Then, as the day progressed, and the night progressed, they started looking at the counties as they came in. They started modifying that to say that even though the Democrat wasn't going to win, look at how much support Trump had lost. He should have been winning by much, much more. Then, when the count was over, and the Republican won at a reasonably comfortable level, certainly not anything to brag about for the Republicans, but of course nothing to brag about for the Democrats, living up to their stories they had been telling. Isn't it funny that the story just disappeared? And so as it turns out, the great race, special election, North Carolina, for representative, is one of the great unraces. Didn't apparently happen according to the media, because they're not going to tell you about it because it didn't come out the way they wanted it to come out. Go figure.
Right.
Now, I got a text from a friend who was talking about, in the course of the text, that Trump was going to win in 2020. Person felt like it's going to be a landslide. Let me say to y'all, President Trump can win in 2020. I do not say he can't. However, I do say it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Don't believe any polling data, and don't believe any pundits telling you how 2020 is going. Don't believe them. Once again, in North Carolina, we saw this incredible silent army out there in support of President Trump that we all hope is really there. We saw with the thing Randy found with the guy that worked in Hollywood, and he couldn't publicly claim his support for President Trump for fear of being fired. And then you look at the responses he got, and there were hundreds, maybe 1,000 or so people that agreed they had the same problem. So we don't know about this vast, silent army that we hope transcends into votes in 2020. We know they're out there. We know they're out there, but will they vote?
Larry,
Will they vote?
will they vote? And I can't believe how many people are flip-flopping on support for Trump and really picking up what you have said will come. Is it helping you? Is it helping you? And these are supposedly, they claim they're independent or Republicans, and it's just, it's, sorry, I can't get that turned off. There we go. It's a little shocking at the number of people, you know, claiming that he hasn't arrested anybody yet. And have you seen, and how the businesses, the steel businesses down because of, you know, all these XYZ reasons that Trump's doing a bad job. And it's horrifying to hear.
Well, let me explain something, Mary Ellen, and you know it. And I'm going to tell everybody, probably to the point that y'all have heard it before so many times that you don't want to hear it again, but you're going to hear it. And you're going to hear it over and over from me. So much of these negative stories about people falling off the bandwagon with Trump, or that he hadn't helped them, or he hadn't prosecuted, hadn't arrested anybody. So much of that comes from the mainstream media. We'll never know how many people they talk to. We'll never know how many people they talk to do a story, to try to find somebody that's going to talk bad about how they were for Trump, but they're not going to be this time. We have no clue how many people they talk to that said they did before and they're going to again. You have no way of knowing that. The only people that are going to be reported on by the mainstream put it in the bank. The only stories that are going to be reported on are bad for Trump. Face it, realize it, know it. Please know it.
But I'm even.
And then on the internet, the stuff you hear on the internet, be careful. So much of that are trolls out there just to breed discontent. The trolls are out there, and they know there are people, Mary Ellen, they know there are people that were for Trump, but they were soft for Trump. There's no doubt they were soft, but they were for him. And they're out there, and the things they do and the things they say, the communications they have, the trolls are able, guys, to communicate with people kind of in a one-on-one way. They can establish conversations with people. And the trolls will take somebody that was soft on Trump, get them in a conversation, and you know what? Before the conversation's over, this person that was soft on Trump is agreeing, you know what? Yeah, I get it. No, he hadn't helped me. No, he hadn't done what he said he would do. And then they put it out that they're disgruntled, that they're not going to be with him anymore. Think about it. You've all been a part, Mary Ellen, I know you have. You've all been a part of conversations on the internet with people that like that. But what we don't know is how many of them are trolls. Trolls set out to do just that. And believe me, from what I understand, Google, all of those guys have got thousands of trolls that they have trained to do just what I'm talking about.
Well, the person I'm thinking of in particular right now, and I won't say the name because I'm just not going to badmouth somebody directly, but this person is disgruntled because he had some expectations, for example, of what the VA was going to do with the changes that were coming, and it hasn't worked out for his specific situation, and so he's frustrated. And so there's a lot of negative coming, but when I listen to the negative coming, I think he's really hurting, but I understand where he's coming from because he's frustrated. But I think some somebody needs to deal directly with their frustrations and not be spewing it all over the public domain because of the impact it has. I mean, this, forgive me, Larry, for
let's be honest. Let's be honest, Mary Ellen. There are millions of people in this country, millions. Millions of people in the VA system, millions of people in the Medicare, Medicaid, welfare system, millions of people. And yes, there are cases, justifiable cases where people are being hurt. They are. This person might be one of them. I mean, he's not being treated fairly. I'm not going to say he isn't. I don't know. I'm going to agree that he isn't. But you see, President Trump can't wave a magic wand and be able to correct every one of the millions of individual problems out there. The best he can do is work to stop it from happening, and he's trying. And it hadn't gotten everywhere. Everybody's not been helped. Everybody has not achieved benefit from the economy. I know it. You know it. We've talked about it here. It takes time. It takes time. This is a huge ship. It is not a speedboat. You cannot take President Trump or anybody other than Jesus Christ could take this big ship and turn it fast on a dime. A speedboat, yes, you can. But a ship, no, you can't. It takes time to turn it around. And that's what he's in the process of trying to do. But I would remind you all that every step in our government, every position in our government, there is somebody in there that hates Trump, that will do any and everything they can to cause President Trump trouble. So you see, he's got people that are trying to hurt him by hurting all of y'all. I mean, it's hard to believe, but let's say there's a person in the VA that's trapped. They're not getting the service or the benefit that they're supposed to be getting. What do you do if the person that's causing that problem is an anti-Trump person that's embedded in the system where he's at? What do you do about that? How do you deal with that? Huh?
Well, and
how do you deal with that?
And especially when you consider where some of these people live, if they're living in a blue state, they're certainly going to have a problem. The other thing is when you hear people talk about Trump's not arresting people, he's not the one responsible for that. And the other
we talked about that. President Trump cannot arrest a soul. I guess he can make essentially a step better than a citizen's arrest by us, but technically he's got to do what? He has to turn it over to the Attorney General. That's who's got to do it. He doesn't do it. Now, what else are you going to say, Marianne?
And the other piece is, you know, we're still at a point who you're going to call. Even if somebody's arrested, what court are you going into that's going to be able to actually prosecute without everything being sealed with a gag order and it's over and nothing happened?
So,
and you can't arrest, and you can't arrest without going forward.
Well, there you go, guys. I'm sorry. It is not my job to defend President Trump or anybody else over every issue and every situation. But it does get down to one thing. To all people that are disgruntled in the service or whatever that they are not getting right now.
All right.
In November, you're all going to have a choice. November 2020, you're going to have a choice. And you can vote because you're not getting the treatment that you had hoped President Trump would get you yet. It's not come yet. I'm not saying that. No, I'm just saying you haven't gotten it yet. You have a choice. You can vote for somebody else. But that somebody else, you better watch out. Because if you think, any of you think you've got it bad right now, you have no idea what it's going to be like if he loses. You have no idea.
So we've got a comment here from a pastor. The media is definitely on a disinformation campaign. But says there is a way to solidify the soft base. All that has to happen is indictments be brought, even if there are no convictions. Well, what's the point of an indictment if you're not going to go forward with to make it happen?
Well, let me answer that one a little bit to the pastor and to everybody. Timing. If you time it wrong and you indict a person, and it is still in a place where we know it's going to go into a crooked court, where it's not going to be handled properly, they're going to get away with it. Here's what's going to happen. If we needed it to go to court fast, it would be forever before it gets there. But if he indicts somebody and the court it's got to go to is crooked and we can't possibly win, you can bet it will be rushed into court. And what we don't want to happen is to have somebody, let's say like Andy McCabe, indicted, prosecuted, taken to court before the election, and guess what? Get off. Be found innocent. That would destroy us. That will destroy us. So part of the process that has to go on, that I believe, this is my opinion, part of the process has to be from the Attorney General. You must look at these cases and you must look forward. Try to project where it's going to go, what courts it's going to go in. What is the position of the court it's going to go in? And you may want to time it to where, yes, you impanel a grand jury, get a recommendation of prosecution, and then start the prosecutorial process. But you might want to make sure that it actually does not go to court until Trump has had time to change out some of the judges in this country. Short of that, we've all lost. If the Attorney General, William Barr, started today and brought out James Comey, Brennan, Clapper, McCabe, Strzok, you name them, the list goes on and on. If he brought all of them out today, do y'all realize there's probably an 80 to 90% chance when they go into the legal system we have presently, the judicial system we have presently, there's a good chance they'll all walk. And if they all walk, then the coup is ongoing. It's over. We're lost. We've lost everything. So a lot more goes in to the planning of prosecution than just whether you have the evidence and stuff you need to make the case.
And another thing,
Larry,
we need to remind people of when we're discussing this and they're frustrated, is if a grand jury is impaneled, we won't hear about it until it's done and the indictment is recommended. So people need to be patient because we don't know what's happening behind the scenes in the way of grand juries.
That's right. So guys, just all I can ask you to do is we have to concentrate. We have to concentrate on what we can do. What is our mission? What is our goal? Our number one goal for everything to have a possibility of getting back to the way this country was meant to be is to stop them from defeating Trump in 2020. That's our goal. Stay focused. Stay focused on what you've got to do, your part, to help that. The rest of this stuff, yes, I know it's a problem. Yes, I know if it's me or you and we're not getting the kind of help we're supposed to be getting, I know it's hard. Dear God, I know it's hard. Look at me. I'm a good example of that. It's hard. Bear with it. Bear with it a little longer. But don't throw this whole country away. Don't. We must win in 2020. We must. And if we can achieve that goal, guys, you know what? There is a chance for America to live on. If we fail at that, there will be no America, and I can prove that now. Today, apparently, or yesterday, it looks like a couple of pieces have come out in the major newspapers about Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren is giving it out too quick. She's putting out the word too quick. It's a mistake, but we're going to use it. She is going after today, in order to win her election, she is coming ahead and going after the banking industry in a big way. Now think about that. She shouldn't do that right now, because she's going to fool around and she's going to make it quite obvious that if she gets elected president, listen to me, if she gets elected president, very soon, I predict, because of what she's done so far, she's going to have to say what she's going to do to fix the banking industry. And at some point, she's going to mess up. And she's going to say, look, if she's president, she's going to do restructuring of the financial institutions. She's going to say it. And if she says it, then guys, you will no longer have to believe me. Ever again, you won't have to believe me. That if they win in 2020, they're going to nationalize those banks. They're going to do it. Now, I'm sure the powers in the progressive organization, I'm sure the powers are pretty ticked at her right now. That is something they shouldn't have, she shouldn't have let the cat out of the bag this early. But she did.
Good.
Do y'all hear me? Look at her.
Oops, you're breaking up again. Larry? James, I'm going to get to your questions in just a minute. I remember the one that you did at the beginning. Larry, we lost you. Let me text him. Sorry, folks. Give him a minute to come back in. I don't know what happened. Larry, we lost you. Come back in. There we go. Oh, Christian, yes. Tom Fitton can't prosecute. You know, he's trying to do a lot of depositions to get people to know what's going on. That is the role he's playing. And yes,
I'm back now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was just answering Christian. He said, I see Tom Fitton is talking about all they have found in corruption, but they can't prosecute. They need the AG to step up to bring people to justice. But the AG, his hands are tied because we don't have a court to go into yet.
Yeah, just, you know, we've talked about this until we're all probably tired of hearing it. They have control of the entire judicial branch of our government, lest maybe the Supreme Court. So we do not have an environment right now, Chris or whoever it was that was asking or talking, sending you something. We don't have an environment right now where we can expect to get fairness in law. We don't. It doesn't exist right now. Do you understand that? It don't exist right now.
Yeah. All right. A couple questions. James asked about what about Bill Binney to replace Bolton?
I don't have an opinion. I don't. If President Trump were to ask me, which he has not, and probably won't, I would imagine, if he would ask me who I would recommend for that position, I would not know who to tell him. I would not. Not today. In past years, yes, there would have been people in past years that I would have recommended, but they're gone now. The new breed of people that are out there, I can't tell you any of them that are worth it. I can't. I'm even hearing rumblings of letting Pompeo have a dual task, be Secretary of State and do Bolton's job, National Security Advisor.
Wow.
I don't know. I'm not liking that idea that much, but it's not my call. This is a call that President Trump's going to have to make on his own. Now, I do know that as he gets his short list delivered to him by his selection committee, they've not been very good in the past at recommending people. So I do not know who's going to fill that slot. I do not know who we would wish to fill that, or I would wish to fill that slot. What else you got, Miriam?
Another question from James. I believe the 2020 election is as important as D-Day in World War II. Otherwise, we'll be ruled by the Luciferian left communists run by the UN.
Mm-hmm. James, you did not exaggerate one word, not one. I believe the election 2020 is as important as D-Day, yes. But I also believe it is as important as was the Revolutionary War. I really do. Because the whole point of the Revolutionary War was to get us out of being a slave to England. This election is going to make us a slave to socialism. So it's one of the most important elections I've ever known about, period. What else you got?
Christian just makes the comment, which I think is good, and then I've got a different question. The courts seem overruled by administrative courts instead of Article 3 courts.
What?
The courts seem to be overruled by administrative courts instead of Article 3 courts.
Yes. Yes, that is true.
Okay, Paul asks, do you think, James suggested you for the NSA, for Bolton's job.
Thank you. I wouldn't take it, but thank you. You wouldn't want me.
Paul asks, do you think NAFTA is still hurting the country, and how is the Canada-US-Mexico trade agreement Pence worked on? Do you think it'll turn things around?
NAFTA is still killing America. Trump has put a dagger in it that's slowing it down. It's not dead yet, but it's slowed down considerably. The Canada-Mexico agreement, I believe before Trump gets through, he will have everything that he wants in that agreement, that trade agreement. And if he gets everything that he wants in that trade agreement using his skill as a negotiator, we will come out better than we've ever been. Better than we've ever been. Now, the problem's not his negotiating skills with Canada and Mexico. The problem's going to fall, once again, it's got to be ratified by Congress. And no matter how good it is for the people of America, for this country, no matter how good it is for our children and our grandchildren, their futures, no matter how good it is, if it comes from Trump, the Democrats are going to block it. That's the problem. Will it get passed? It will not pass in this Congress. It will not. Likely as not, they'll not even let it come to a vote in this Congress. Hey guys, Congress is not voting on anything that affects America. They're not voting on anything. The only thing they're doing is trashing Trump. That's all they're doing.
And let's hope that people are going to wake up and call them on doing that, because they're certainly going to be using in their the fact that the Congress isn't able to do anything and claim that therefore we need a new system.
Mary Ellen, I believe, this is my opinion, I believe it's gone too far. It has gone too far, just like with the media, it's gone too far. Congress is not going to change. They're not going to bring stuff up. They're not going to respond to the people. If Democrats call them by the truckloads and tell them to do legislation that will help the country, they're not going to change. They're all in. Don't you understand? They're all in. They don't want to change America. They don't want to vote on legislation to help this country. They don't want to.
No, I'm saying
they want this government changed come December 2020.
That's what I'm saying is aren't they going to use as part of their campaign strategy the fact that they've done nothing, therefore we have to change our form of government to something that's more modern and
Mhm.
work with, and we have to be there to ask them, hey, the problem isn't the Constitution, the problem is the fact that you're not doing what you are pledged to do.
Well, it won't come that way. They will claim in this entire election, you'll see Republicans claim it, you'll see Democrats claim it. Both parties, Mary Ellen, are going to claim, we're trying to get stuff passed, but the other party just won't let us. We're trying to do this, but they won't let us, or the president won't let us. Once they win in 2020, if they do, when they get sworn in January of 2021, then, Mary Ellen, they're going to drop the dime on us and say, look, we can't, this Congress doesn't work anymore. You got proof of that. Then that's when they will say we need, and we won't have a vote then, honey. We won't get to vote. It won't be a matter of voting. They'll make that decision for us, as will all decisions be made in after 2021, no, January 2021, if we lose. We won't make decisions after that, folks. After November 2020, if Trump loses, we won't be making decisions anymore in this country. I'm not saying they won't hold elections like Cuba and Russia and everywhere else. They may have elections, but it's not going to be like what we know or what we used to.
Vote this way or else.
What else is left? What else you got, Mary Ellen?
That's it, hon. That's all we got right now.
Well, guys, you're not very questioning today. If you have any comments, get them in. How many people are here at this time, Mary Ellen?
51.
Okay. Look, I know when you look at the people that are here live, it's a bit deceiving. You know, our program is during the day, and an awful lot of people have to work during the day. I know that. So don't be downhearted. We're going to get the word out. And I know some of you, because I've talked to some of you, are trying to spread the word and get people to listen. But in most cases, people that are going to listen, they're going to listen of an evening when they can. Grow this audience. This audience is the nucleus of the army that we're going to have to save 2020. And it will come down to it. You may not think it now. You may think now that Trump has already won in a landslide. You may think now, after you understand the sweeteners and all the things you're doing to Trump and the way they're going to drag him through the mud with impeachment all the way up to election day, the way they're going to crash the stock market right before the election to where nothing can recover. I mean, you may think with all that going on, he can't win, possibly. I know that. But I also know the truth. The truth is, we must fight. We must get hold of every person that would fall into the category of soft voter that we can possibly find. And we've got to simply explain to them the importance of voting in 2020. That's all we got to do. You just got to find people that are of opinion that they like Trump. They may not be hard, dyed-in-the-wool Trump, or not, they may be just average, regular people, and they like him. But that does not mean they'll get out on election day and vote. They don't. You've got to make sure they understand the necessity of voting. You must. You have to. Now, I understand tonight, which ought to make y'all feel good. I hope y'all will feel good. I have seen a blurb on television that tonight during the Democratic debate, the RNC or Trump is going to have a banner going around that says Never Socialism. Never Socialism. He understands what we're trying to do. Whether he got Never Socialism from us or not is irrelevant. The fact is he is using it. The fact is that he understands it. That is the greatest motivation we have for Americans that love this country. It's the greatest motivator we got. And it's a motivator because anybody that knows or can look up socialism for themselves and see the reality of socialism, you would never wish that on a soul, especially your own children and grandchildren. Never socialism. What a word. I don't remember, but I remember learning about during the Revolutionary War, the slogans they had. You know, that the slogans at the time when I was learning about them didn't mean much to me. You know, I mean, what are these words? These words to put on a flag. Live free or die, I think was one of them. I mean, you know, come on, live free or die. I didn't understand that stuff when I was growing up and reading about it. I do now. There are no sweeter two words than never socialism in the English language today. No, they're not sweet words exactly, but they're sweet because there are no truer words that apply to this nation that have ever been said. Never socialism. And tonight, during that debate with the Democrats, once again, if any of you watch it, some of you will, most of you may watch some of it. I don't know many of you watch all of it. But when you watch that debate, I believe you're going to come away from it shaking your head, hopefully scared to death that any one of those people might ever become president of the United States. That should scare you to death. It ought to be stuff that late night comedians just have a law with, but you notice they don't. They're not having fun with the Democratic nutty candidates like they would have in past years. They're not. Guys, when you line up a bunch of candidates, when it began, it was 20 plus candidates. When you line them up, and as it stands right now, the best top three you've got are Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, and Elizabeth Warren. You got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. Joe Biden is running on not saying anything. At least he's wise enough. He's wise enough to know that the words Sanders and Warren and the rest of the Democratic candidates are throwing out there are not what you want to put out when you run in the general election. You see, because in the general election, Democrats want to be able to lie. They want to be able to, quote, claim they're in the center, that they're not left, they're not far left, they are centrist, which is an absolute lie. You know, Obama was played out to be a centrist. Have you ever seen a more leftist administration than Obama's? Bill Clinton was made out to be a centrist, middle of the road. His administration was incredibly leftist. Much of what's wrong with us today came from him. Now, the Republican side, George Bush, yeah, you know what? He was a centrist. The center was as far as he would go to the right. He wouldn't stand up. We have a president now who is standing up. His name is Trump. And he needs our help, yours and mine. Now, Mary Ellen, any other questions right quick?
Have we sent a T-shirt to President Trump yet?
Not yet.
How
But
come?
we're working.
Okay, we'll get it done. How come Obama and his staff are still in Washington and he's visiting foreign leaders? Is this not treasonous, says James?
Well, it's not really. It's not treasonous. He is an American citizen. He has the right to travel anywhere he wants to in the world as long as his papers are in order. It's what he talks to these leaders. Some of the things he says to the leaders in foreign countries might jeopardize him. But of course, we won't know what his private conversations are. But no, he has every right, James, to go to any country and speak to the leaders if you wanted to, the same as you do. If you had the power to get to the leaders. All right, now I've got to do this. Today is another one of those days where I must ask y'all to help if you can. I don't want to belabor it, but it is a crisis moment. I have pushed things too far. And it would sure make me feel better to know that y'all would help sponsor this program and me. So would you please, starting now, start dinging my PayPal thingy? Please. You know, I need to raise money. And this is our way to do it here. So without doing any more, I just need you to hear me. Hear my voice. Hear me when I say I need it. I need your help. Please. It's nicholslive@aol.com. nicholslive@aol.com. And it is urgent. If you can, please. Now, one other thing that I want to say before I go, and I've thought about this a lot. I don't know what y'all think is the right thing to do. Peter just said 40. Thank you, Peter. My God, thank you, buddy. I don't know what y'all think is the right thing, the right strategy. You may agree that we need to work on the soft basis, as I do. But what do you think? What is your strategy? If you don't like what I'm saying about the soft base, which I intend to keep up, I intend to keep it up until the day we either win or we lose this country forever. I'm going to keep it up. But what is your strategy? What do you think makes sense? You're just as smart as I am. I don't have any magical crystal ball any more than you do. Well, maybe some of you do. I don't. What do you have for a strategy? What makes sense to you? What do you think would save us in the shape we're in? What do you think?
Would it help for us to find a local candidate, whether they're running for state or federal office? Help them do door knocking, and that gives us a chance to talk about.
No.
No? Okay.
No way. No way. Now, if you want to help a local candidate, that certainly you should do it if you want to. But not as a part of what I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you to be specific. I don't want you going, Mary Ellen, to knock on a door. I got 10 from Ann or Annie. Thank you so much. Thank you, dear God. Thank you. I don't want you going door to door, because when you go to door, you know what you don't know? You don't know who you're talking to. So you may end up going down a block that is nothing but anti-Trump people.
Especially where I live.
And before you know it, you've been beat over the head so many times you won't keep it up. No, I want you to talk to people. We've got to keep it simple. Now, this is my strategy. Y'all may have a better one. I'd like to hear it. My strategy is keep it simple. The people you associate with, the people that you are friends with, they've got to be somewhat of like mind politically to you, or you wouldn't be hanging around them. Now, I know at work you got to hang around people that have different, and be friends with people that have different political views, so you choose just not to talk about it. Well, then I guess you know in that situation not to bring it up. But I'm talking about the people that you talk with, the people you communicate with that you know support President Trump. You must talk to them and beg them to understand they've got to vote this time. I got 25 from Jack. Jack, thank you so much, buddy. Thank God people are helping today, Mary Ellen. Please keep going, guys. You have no idea what that means to me. But do you understand that? I want you talking to people you know. I don't want you out there just going up and down a mall. Number one, that don't mean nothing anyway. You go up and down a mall, you're getting in somebody's private life. They don't appreciate that half the time. And a lot of times they might be about halfway for Trump, and then somebody jumps in their face and says something. They don't even want to vote for him anymore because they're mad that you invaded their space. No. If you want to help a local politician, fine, do it for that person.
One more question. We know that Trump can fire the federal judges in his second term. Is there any way that the president can fire Congress?
Mm-mm.
I don't think so.
Nope. Mm-mm. Wait a minute, I had to take a pill. Sorry about that. I had to take my medicine. No, a president cannot. Remember separation of powers. Separation of powers between Congress and the presidency, the executive and congressional branch. Now, he can, however, fire federal judges. So you say, well, wait a minute, there's separation of powers. Well, I got 50 from Janet. Janet, thank you so much, hon. Thank you. I know you think, well, there's separation of powers. And then I just got 10 from Thomas. Thank you. Y'all, we may make it today if y'all keep helping. This is phenomenal. But anyway, the president can fire a federal judge. He can fire anybody in government except members of Congress.
Supreme Court too, next term?
Nope.
Okay.
Supreme Court is supreme. Now, here again, every time I say he can't do something, then you point out something he can. Yes, Supreme Court is supreme. He cannot fire Supreme Court justice. Now, he can declare, by the way, this may end up having some meaning. Who is it that's so sick? Everybody thought that was fixing to die or was dead.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Well, for somebody that's supposed to be dead, she was in Little Rock speaking, I think, last week or the week before. So I'd be careful with that rumor, y'all. She was in Little Rock. I heard the commercials for her. So, but in the case of a Supreme Court.
Oh dear, we lost you again. Oh no. Hang on, let me let him know that we lost him again. Don't know what happened. I know if he gets a phone call, it'll knock him off, but lost you again. So let's see. Pastor, I wanted to say something about your humbling ourselves, the 2 Chronicles 7:14. That was the fabulous strategy we used for 2016. I heard of Francis Miles. He's coming out with a book on the divine restraining order, and he was on with Jim Baker recently talking about that. And that's,
in case you missed it, was if a person is incapacitated.
Larry, back up. We lost you. So you were talking about Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and he can declare something.
Okay, are you there, Mary Ellen?
Yeah, we're here now.
Do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Mary Ellen.
Yes, we lost you, but you're back.
Hello, Mary Ellen. Do you hear me?
Yes, we hear.
Mary Ellen, are you there?
Oh, goodness.
Does anybody hear me? Am I out there to anyone? It shows that I am live. It says I am in the show. Are you there, Mary Ellen?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. Did you hear me say the part about in case you're brain dead?
No.
All right. What I was saying is, in the case, if a Supreme Court justice is incapacitated, maybe brain dead or whatever, there is a law that provides for the president to vacate that seat in a medical emergency. So yes, they're still alive, essentially. Technically, they're alive, but they're not able to do the job, and the president can order that seat to be vacated.
I think there are a lot of people who are thinking he should have done that already.
Well, if she's out making a speech in Little Rock, why should he have done that?
Well, I guess the question is it really her, a double?
Well, come on. Thank you. I think it was Gilby that sent 105. Thank you so much. Thank you. Please. Thank you. Look, this is another case, man. The reason I told that about her, Ginsburg, is just to show you once again, folks, how these stupid rumors on the internet get out there.
Well, that's what I was saying, is repeat telling you what I keep hearing. I mean, I know what you have said because of your contacts, and and therefore you have come against people with those repeating those saying those things because they're nothing but rumor. And you have said, no, she is still working. Even if she's working at home, from the people you've talked to, she is still very much in the game.
Yep. But it doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't seem to matter what the truth is. There are people out there in the internet world, guys, that y'all listen to all the time that literally put out crap. And we got to stop it, y'all. We've got to stop it. If you took the story that Ginsburg was dead and you passed it around to all of your friends, Facebook friends or Twitter friends or whatever friends or whatever you call that stuff, if you put that out, do you see how you look? And then do you see how it makes us look? I mean, I'm just asking, please. We have so little time, and it's so important, and we have such a job to do for the country. We have to be right. We have to be right in what we tell people. For some reason, if I'm wrong, then I'm a fraud. You know, if I tell you there are going to be 60,000 sealed indictments passed out January the 2nd, and they don't get out January the 2nd, they say, oh, well, there was a problem. They're going to do it on February the 10th. And then February the 10th, they don't happen. And then they say, well, it'll happen in June. Well, then in June, it don't happen. And then finally, everybody just forgets about it because it never was going to happen. If I say something and it turns out to be wrong, then I'm totally discredited. And that's bad. But what's worse, if I've told y'all something and you told somebody and it made you be discredited, that's what I can't take. I can't hurt you. Mm-hmm. I am sworn that I cannot hurt y'all. I can't. And I will not.
Now, Larry, let me add a piece. Leroy says he's seen an ad for body doubles in the newspaper for Ruth Bader Ginsburg. But just because you saw an ad and just because you wonder how she could possibly survive 3 different types of cancer, including pancreatic, which is very difficult to do, that doesn't mean that these other stories are true, because we know the media puts out all kinds
of... Number one, who bought the ad, Mary Ellen, saying they were looking for doubles? Who bought the ad, if you saw it?
I didn't see it. I said,
All right, good God, let me ask you all this. Let me ask you this.
Leroy saw it.
How many of you out there right now, knowing that I'm telling the truth, I got no reason to lie about it. I got no skin in the game about Ginsburg. She was just in Little Rock speaking at some kind of forum. How many of you believe that if she was in Little Rock a week or 2 weeks ago speaking at a forum, that she's dead and that was a damn body double? How many believe that?
Didn't see her, didn't hear her, so.
Do you really need to see and hear her to believe that there would be, that she would be out there with a, they would be out there with a body double, a body double that knew her life history to the degree she could stand the scrutiny of a question answer period all about her life? Are you kidding me?
That sounds pretty preposterous.
No, it's all preposterous. It's all preposterous. I'm just asking, guys. I'm not trying to be ugly to you, but damn it. Think about it. Now, if she was just out there making a photo op, you know what, Leroy, I might buy it. I might buy into it if she was doing a photo op. But not when the whole seminar or forum was about her and her life. I don't know many body doubles that could pick up on all of that and be able to answer it. Look, guys.
Oh dear, you got knocked off again. I don't know what's knocking him off so badly today. And he gets kind of upset when we go too far into believing some of these conspiracies. You're gone again, Larry. So just send a text. Well, if you have a way to go to college campuses, Jolie, and talk to them, that would be awesome. Yes, there are some that are going, and that is a really good thing, and I so appreciate what I see about that. As for doubles and things like this, you know, Larry tries to stick with what he's got impeccable sources of information at high levels. And if he tells us that somebody's still alive, I'm going to believe his source over anybody on the internet, no matter what they say or how convincing they're going to be. Because the people he knows are incredible. Okay, you're back. You're back.
All right. It's going off all the time. I mean, but anyway, back to what I was saying. That, look, use common sense. Just because the Democrats and the millennials have lost all sense of reality, just because they're willing to believe anything that sounds magical and mystical, we don't need to join them. I take great pride in knowing all of y'all. And all of y'all are good people, sound people with common sense. We can all be deceived. Any one of us can be deceived at any time. I know that. But some of this stuff, we've got to pull back our antenna a little bit. Some of this stuff, we've just got to back off. And let's not be too quick. Let's just not be so quick to spread the latest rumor that's out there, gossip or fairy tale on the internet. Just don't spread it until such time as it may or may not prove true or not. So anyways, anybody else got anything to say? And I'm sorry if I threw a fit, but you know, Mary Ellen, it drives me insane. It just literally.
And I'm sorry I have to tell you what I keep hearing, because I know how you're going to react, and keep your blood pressure down, okay? So you have heard of government people using doubles, though, right? That's one question we have.
Of course I have. And of course, there are presidential doubles. In every administration since Kennedy, there have been presidential doubles. I do not know if there have been vice presidential doubles, but I know there are presidential doubles. It's doubles as part of the protocol. So, with that, I still need help from anybody out there. Please, thank you so much to those that have participated already. Dear God, thank you. But everybody, please help.
Yeah, and anybody who can match whatever's been done would be greatly, greatly appreciated.
Yeah. Well, with that, Mary Ellen, I guess I'm done for the day.
Okay, thank you.
All right, y'all. Have a good one. Pay attention to the debate tonight. I don't necessarily ask you to watch it because of the damage it'll do to your heart, but it would not hurt to see a bit of it so that you can see what we're up against.
Yeah.
Please. All right, with that, I'll say good day.
Okay, thank you. Tamara, I'm sorry, we have a conference call coming up right now. Last week he joined us. I don't think he's well enough to join us today. His chest is hurting pretty bad, I would imagine. I don't know that. He hasn't told me that, but I'm guessing. Anybody who can match anything that's been given today would be greatly, greatly appreciated. And once again, the information for donating is in the description under the video. The nicholslive.com website has the link for donations. You can donate by PayPal. You can send cash in the mail. His address is there on the website. You can send a text message if you want to donate by check or some other method. We do have other ways to do it. So let us know. And I'll just put the text message number in here again, the cell phone number for text. And there's the conference call number as well. I'm going to be getting off right now and getting on the conference call. So thanks for being here. God bless you. And we'll be back tomorrow. Bye.